Hi guys, welcome back to the fourth episode of Girl Next Door. That sounds crazy. I'm saying the fourth episode. It feels like yesterday since I first pressed go and launched the first episode. But here we are, fourth episode in. I've loved the journey so far. I've really enjoyed interacting with you guys and, all the messages I get daily is just really inspiring. And I just want to say thank you again for everyone that listens. I really appreciate it. But it has been a big commitment, I can't lie. I feel like even though there is no pressure, really, there is a bit of pressure. It's pressure from myself, and I am feeling quite overwhelmed. I think with the amount that people like it, and they really, they're saying such wonderful, amazing things, and I love hearing the feedback and everything. But it's just that now that I've got a listener, it's almost like I've got to keep up. I've got to keep getting better and better and better. And although I really want to, it's just quite a weight on my shoulders, especially with all my university work going on at the moment. So that kind of brings me on to today's topic of conversation, and that is hustle culture. Now, we see it all the time. It's romanticized such a lot on Instagram, on TikTok, of these girls that wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and do an hour of yoga. They read a novel before they even have breakfast, and they do all of this, and they don't stop working until 10 o'clock at night because they're just so committed and driven by their work, and that's what consumes their whole life. And if you're not that, then you're not working hard, or you're not working hard enough, or you're not successful. And I think it's quite difficult seeing that all online, because you might be sitting at home on the sofa or on your bed just scrolling through TikTok, as we all do. And you might be seeing this, productive, don't stop the grind, rise and grind type of video that shows them working until they physically fall asleep. And you're sitting there having your spare time, your free time, relaxing, questioning yourself, being like, oh, am I not working hard enough? Is this why I'm not living in a mansion in LA? That type of thing. So, after researching what hustle culture actually was, it's also known as burnout culture. Now, if I was to say, oh, is hustle culture good? Are you part of hustle culture? I thought it was a kind of a good thing. That shows you working hard. Like, it romanticizes the idea of the harder you work, the better the results will be. Whereas further research into this almost kind of suggests the opposite, that it has negative effects on both your mental and your physical health. That's what I wanted to touch on. And what you see online isn't necessarily what should be romanticized. It's like this dream that we all have. Well, the classic dream of you can reach anything if you work hard, or, if the harder you work, the better the goals you get. Waking up at 5 a.m. and starting your work and finishing work at 10 o'clock and going straight to bed, having that repeat cycle of doing the same thing every day, being a slave to your laptop or work and not having any time for your own mind to wander, can lead to some serious mental health issues. The term burnout is used quite frequently. And burnout is when you feel unmotivated, you've lost the love, passion you once had for that certain thing. It's consumed your whole life to the point where you've lost that spark or that energy that once was there, that is no longer there, because it's consumed your life so much that it's suffocated you, and now you feel completely, utterly drained, because that was your whole life. So starting it again or carrying on can be really difficult. Because it's almost like this term hustle and working constantly so hard, you're focused on one task in itself, and you're not letting anything around you come in. So it's like a massive wall all surrounding you, and the more you work, the better you think the end goal will be. So the wall will keep getting higher, because that's where you think you're getting. It's like a mount, like picture it like a mountain, and the higher you can climb the mountain, the better it is, right? But if you're at the bottom and you keep taking the steps and climbing, but you never see how far you've come, and you're always focusing on the top, but the top, this mountain is slowly growing. Okay, that doesn't sound... It's like a tree. It's like a tree. So if the tree is constantly growing and you're trying to climb up the tallest tree ever, you're never going to reach the top, because it's constantly moving. The goalpost of where you define success is moving, so you're never going to feel satisfied. It can make you feel like there's no end. Burnout is something, negative, whereas hustle, we see it all online as being a positive, yes, boss girl type of thing. when actually that is not the case. After further reading, it's the idea of working long hours on your computer, on the screen, and sacrificing self-care in order to succeed. It's the promise of that if you give everything into that one piece of work, that you can achieve anything, you can reach anything. The harder you work, the better the outcome will be. There are many parts of hustle culture. You've got like the guilt, which may initiate you starting this hustle culture. It's do you take a moment to check in with yourself? Do you feel guilty if you have a day off? Or do you feel guilty? Do you find it hard to relax? This is all really common traits of being involved in hustle culture, because you feel like you should work constantly. And if you're not working constantly, then you're not successful or you're not being productive. When, like I said in my last podcast a few weeks ago, to fully take a break and actually be the best you, and you've got to allow those breaks, because the significance of if you don't take those steps to actually have a break is burnout. It is the guilt, anxiety that just takes over your whole life. This toxic productivity of always thinking that you should work from the moment you wake up to the minute you go to bed, it doesn't allow you to be present in yourself. If you're constantly working at a computer and constantly doing things with other people or sending emails, doing this, you're not in tune with what you're actually thinking. You're so closed off and so focused on one task, you don't let in any feelings or emotions. And you still feel them, but they're so built up that one day you will just burst. And, all those emotions that could have been released very slowly and calmly are now built up over a long period of time. And that is never good. That's going to really affect your mental health. So when I begin to write a podcast, I write down all my feelings and all my kind of emotions, how I feel about the topic on my iPad, so I can clearly see what I want to talk about. I definitely have felt less than or not as good because I am not living in a penthouse at the age of 16 and I haven't got bags of money to spend on loads of bags. Bags of money to spend on loads of bags? Bags of money to spend on cars and, maybe bags, I don't know. Yeah, so I'm not rich, I'm not famous, I don't live in this massive apartment in London, I've not paid for it myself. And I think because it's so easily accessible that we see it online, that this person, they've worked on this app that's just, designed to send a message to the moon, we then will be sitting on the sofa or on the bed and just kind of think, oh, well, I've not done that. They've gone out and done something, or you're not where they are. And it's going back to this massive thing in society these days of comparison. Now, comparison is the thief of all joy. So as young people these days, we are told to work hard from the minute we can speak, do our homework all the time. School comes first, then we go to uni. And if you don't go to uni, then that's not the typical path. And although I am currently at university, it wasn't the initial path I was going to take. I'll touch on this later on in a few more episodes' time. But I was so set dead against not going to university, and then something switched, which made me want to go. However, just going back to, we're constantly encouraged by our parents, by our teachers to really, the harder you work, the better your grades will be, the better university you can get into, the better job you can get. And there is a lot of pressure when it comes to that. It comes down to what you classify success being. My success, what I think success is, will be a bit different to what you think success is, or what your friend thinks success is, or what your parents think success is. Everyone thinks of the term success in very different ways. It is subjective. It's a subjective term that we all think is the same. Although we know my success is different to your success, we all kind of measure each other's success on the same line. You've got a line in front of you, picture a line in front of you. You think you're there and, someone else is there and they're ahead of you. But that's just not the case, okay? Everyone's story, everyone's journey, everyone's lifeline, everyone's work journey is different. So my goal might be this and your goal might be this, but they can't be measured against each other because they're different paths. And that's when we've got to remind ourselves that, yes, that person might be 16 and just bought a mansion in LA, but that's not to take away anything from your success or your personal growth. And it's this comparison that we see all online. And that's where I think this hustle culture starts, because at the end of the day, it is the comparison, oh, she's working 10 hours, I'll work 20. You know, she works 10 hours, she might get a car. But if I work 20 hours, I may get 2 cars and a mansion, that type of thing. I'm using mansion here generally, like a general like kind of end goal. And I used to think at school, like, why bother? I'm not rich because I'm older than the age of 16. I'm like, oh, like, I've missed my chance. They're successful. I'm 19 and I've not done anything with my life, because you see online that all these people, you know, it's all these morning routines that look perfect. Yet I'm sat here sitting in this small room, which I live out of in uni, with a student loan and a soon-to-be debt. It's so easy to criticize yourself and, oh, why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that? It's the realization that you're on your own journey and you're on your own path. You are exactly where you need to be. And that's what I keep saying to myself, because I'm not going to lie, guys, this is actually the 3rd time that I've had to record this podcast now. Like, yesterday was a day and a half. I started off really positive. I had this podcast all recorded. I went to go edit it in the coffee shop, and then something happened and the file corrupted. I couldn't get any of the audio back and I was so upset. You know, I cried on the bus because I just felt like the world was against me in that moment, because yes, I'd lost all my audio, which was the main reason why I was really upset. I really enjoyed, like, I'm literally talking about the same topic now, but I thought it was really good. I'm just trying to remind myself that everything happens for a reason. Maybe you guys weren't meant to hear the first episode. Maybe this one's better. Fingers crossed. Hopefully it is. Yeah, you're exactly where you need to be. And although that my day might have had a few hiccups or a few embarrassing moments as such, which aren't really embarrassing, but you know, sometimes you feel a bit, oh, it teaches you lessons. So yesterday I was really disheartened. I felt like my heart sank to my bum because I literally was so excited to share with you this episode. Because it takes quite a long time to record and to edit, it felt like a massive task to redo it all again, which it kind of is, but you know, I do love doing it, so it's so worth it. However, going back, it taught me that, again, when something doesn't go right, you pick yourself back up again. And yes, there might be a few tears, but you learn and you're a stronger person. I like to think of it, you know, like going to the gym, getting those gains. When you're actually lifting those weights, you have like micro tears in your muscles. So basically your muscle kind of like gets weaker, right? Technically, yeah. And then when they come back together, you get more muscle and it's bigger. And it's like, yeah. So it's almost like that. You kind of break down and you get a bit upset and you wobble, but then you come back together and you're this even stronger, powerful machine. That's, you know, you've learned, you've got better from it and you've overcome that. And it goes back to saying that life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. So say if you didn't get the job interview, like many of us have, we really wanted that job. Gosh. We really wanted a certain job and we got a rejection letter, or we didn't get through to the next round, and it breaks your heart. But it's what are you going to do next? Are you going to sit and cry and not do anything about it? You might do for the first day, but then is there any way that you could learn from this? Maybe like try again, and you build yourself back up, and there's different things and you learn different things from experiences. You're constantly learning. So if this hustle culture or burnout culture is bad and that it has negative effects on your mental health, you're missing opportunities to be social, it's consuming you to the point where you can't sleep, and that all you're thinking about is working, that from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, it's just work. You're not letting any emotions in, not letting anyone in. We can all experience burnout in many different ways. Like I was saying, I experienced burnout when I went to the gym constantly. Bit off topic, but still on the same subject of burnout, because you can relate it to many different things. I experienced burnout when I was going through my funny period in summer, where I was over exercising and not eating enough. At the beginning, it was this healthy, oh yeah, I like working out, it's making me feel good. And then after time, it became every day. It became constant. I woke up and I did it, and I was doing it for longer and longer and longer. And I then got into this habit of doing it so much that it almost was like a autopilot. Like I wasn't even thinking about anything else. Did I even want to do it? It was just so ingrained in me that I had to do that. Even when I didn't want to, even when I wanted to do something else, it was like, no, you're doing this because this is what you have to do to get to this certain goal. And slowly but surely, I lost all love and all passion I had for the gym and exercise, because it then in my brain was like associated with negative feelings in my head, and that it wasn't an enjoyable space because I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to do it because it was so toxic, and it was this hustle that was consuming my life, and it was all my life, that I kind of lost sight of the end goal. Like, what was I doing it for? This isn't fun. I'm not enjoying myself. And then I just felt lost and I didn't really know what to do. That can be applied to work. And after that, I had to have a good amount of time off again, like completely off, because I completely lost interest. And it's noticing these signs, these indications before you get to the burnout stage, because being burnt out is not fun whatsoever. So some of the ways that you can prevent this from happening is by setting boundaries. Now, in our day and age, we are very much people pleasers. We find it difficult to say the word no, or especially I find it difficult to say no, because, we want everyone to be our friend. We don't want to upset anyone. But the word no isn't bad. It actually can make your relationships better. Say if you had a task to do and someone that said, oh, can you just do this task really quickly? Like, stop what you're doing. And you were like, oh, like you didn't really want to because you want to focus on this task that's the most important. It's saying no to that task would make the task you were doing beforehand even better. And it's kind of knowing the priorities and knowing what's important. And when you say no to certain things, you're saying yes to another. When you say no to something, you're not saying no to something else. It's kind of difficult. I don't really know how to describe it. But when you reject something, say no, or do you want to meet up? No, you're not rejecting something else. So let's give an example. I'm at home and I'm feeling quite down, or I don't know, not feeling great. And I just know that I need to have some time like by myself and have a self-care evening. But my friend so-and-so comes along, oh, I really want to go out, like I fancy going on out, can you come with me? It might sound selfish, but sometimes you've really got to prioritize yourself and know what's best for you. If you're constantly people pleasing and doing what others want to do, and you're scared of saying no or missing out, you've got to realize what is draining your energy for it to stop or for it to not progress, and focus really on your priorities. Say if you've got a list of tasks to do for the day and you wrote down 20 things, 9 out of 10 times you could look at that list again and really fine tune what is important. Because this hustle culture is so romanticized that if we have 10 things on our to-do list and we've got a list for tomorrow as well, once we've completed the 10, we should start on tomorrow's list and we should do even more, because any free time or any spare time that we're not working is wasted. And that is not the case. That is not what you see online. You see these girls, these guys working all the time, never having these breaks, and that's deemed as good. But really, to be efficient and really to make the most of your time and to have a balance and have a balanced life, to make sure you're not going either end of the scale, is by having these breaks. Say you've done your task for today, feeling comfortable to be like, perfect, I'm done for the day. I can relax. I can chill, I can go see a friend, I can go watch a film, and not bring tomorrow's tasks into today, because that's the things that are slowly going to grind you down and just feel like your whole world is consumed by this. So scheduling intentional rest is so important. Like I was saying before, defining your own version of what success is so important. You can have little successes on your own personal goal, and you and your friend might have the same dream, but what you define as the term success will be different, will be slightly different in everyone. What is important to you? Would you rather work 60 hours a week and have a mansion, or would you rather work 40 hours a week and spend more time with your friends, build relationships, go different places, visit different parts of the world? I feel like it's so easy to think that success is a materialistic thing. Success is a car. Success is a new Birkin handbag. That's what we see online. These YouTubers, influencers that buy these handbags after they reach a certain goal as this is success. They don't focus on look at the milestone I've hit, but they go, I've got that, now I can buy this, which is the goal. Well, actually, success can be things like feeling fulfilled in your job. It can be feeling happy. It can be having a family, having a good stable amount of friends around you, having a dog. There are so many definitions of success, and it's so personal how you define it in yourself. It's all not measured on the same line. And I think that is so important to realise, that you're not actually competing against anyone. You're in your own lane. It's not a competition. Someone else's success does not take away from your success. It's all different and it's all personal. And it's really important to always remember that. Just because someone else is doing something else doesn't mean that your win is less than. You are against yourself in this world. And the term of success, you've got to really define it on your own terms and get out of life what you want rather than what is told you should have. So, just trying to round everything off now. I feel like I've kind of gone in many different directions, but bringing everything back together now is we aren't gonna get involved in this hustle culture. It's got negative impacts on your physical health, so you could have high blood pressure or high amounts of stress, tightness in chest because you just feel like there is no way out, depression, anxiety, all these different things. That's mental health as well. So saying goodbye to that and not accepting that we're going to get involved in this burnout culture. And no matter what your goals are, you do not have to get involved in hustle culture. You will get there with a steady and healthy way of working, whatever that looks like to you. Prioritising self-care and your well-being is so important. And that just because you're not working from 5 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night doesn't mean that you won't reach your version of success. Be proud of where you've come from. Don't be afraid to look back and just think, wow, like younger me would be so proud of where you are today. Don't always focus on what's next. You know, what's better, what's bigger, what can I get more of now? Because if that goalpost is constantly moving, you're never going to realise how far you've come and you're never going to be in the present moment. I did a reel on this the other day on my Instagram at girlnextdoor_podcast, that if you constantly think happiness is around the corner, if you think happiness is the next best job or it's this next car or this bigger house, you're never going to be satisfied in the moment, satisfied being fulfilled. If you're always going to want more, appreciate where you are now, see how far you've come. Yes, you can have goals and have goals for the future, but don't ever lose sight of where you are today and how far you've come. Yes, you might see all these people online working from 5 a.m. till 10, but you don't know. That could be an Instagram, TikTok, reel, whatever, that is just saying that for the views or whatever. So never compare yourself online. This hustle culture isn't something that should be romanticized, and that you are doing great with what you're doing now. You're trying your hardest, and it's so easy to forget that as soon as you see something that's a bit different on your phone. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this podcast. This is the third time I recorded it, but hopefully this goes all right now and you guys actually can hear this. I've really enjoyed talking about this again. I feel like I could speak about this for ages because I've talked about it for 3 times already. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. I'll speak to you next Thursday. Bye.